Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. Sorry about my hair being a mess. I just got out of the shower, just got home from work, and I'm in the process of making these videos to go more into different, spacing out. Doing this year, like I said in another video that went up before this one, the kind of chill stream, or not stream, chill video just to talk about different formats and not just, you know, do Pokemon Let's Plays, which we're still doing on the channel, or like Let's Plays, Nuzlocke, stuff like that, but doing more Yu-Gi-Oh content. That was what I wanted to do this year in 2024, is do more Yu-Gi-Oh content, get more involved with both, not just the Pokemon community, but also the Yu-Gi-Oh community as well. And today we have a couple things here for you. This is a Edison format tier list. And basically what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the different decks in the format in Edison, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, whether I think they're good, whether I think they're not good. Some of these decks I have not played, but I've played against personally. I know other people that have played it. Edison is my favorite format in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it takes you back to an older time. It takes you back to a time where there wasn't, combo plays out the wazoo, where you're playing solitaire, and where you're there was some combos, but not a whole lot, and you're not going full bore into summoning your whole board turn one, and just comboing off and making a board that no one can beat. You were slowly, doing it more, taking it more easy, basically, and learning to. It was a new experience even for me learning the game, where I had to learn. Okay, go combo full board in, and like I constantly tried doing that and went overcommitted. And in Edison, you don't have to do that. In Edison, you do not have to do that. You do not have to overcommit too quickly. You can take it easy. And in this, format, I love Edison format. We're going to talk about it today. So we have a bunch of decks here. Pretty much anything you can think of that would be somewhat viable in Edison is in here. So, first things first on our list, we have I guess this is just synchro good stuff, so like Road Warrior, stuff like that. And I think that's just, I've not played against that deck yet, but I hear that it is quite decent, but it's not to the level of some of these other decks. Moving on to Neos, not just Neos, but the hero variants. That's the top tier. Hero Beat, Diva Hero, Frog Hero. All of these are just amazing setups to basically get out Ab-Zero as quickly as possible. If you can get Ab-Zero out as quickly as possible, Ab-Zero is a card that is just unbeatable in Edison standards. And there's a lot of decks that do play water, so like literally Ab-Zero can get over a lot as well. So Diva Hero, Hero Beat, the different hero variants for Diva Hero, those are there. So next is just a black salvo Dark Machine type deck. I will say that I do play like black salvo synchro. So basically, I would say Black Salvo Synchro is at least a C tier deck. There's not a lot of Dark Machines, level 4 Dark Machines that you can use as targets, sadly. Dekoichi's one, Blast Sphere is one, Cannon Soldier, but not too many at all, and that's what sucks about that. And you can only make a 7 off of what he wants to do, so. And Darkstrike Fighter is kind of banned in that format, so you really can't use that. Gadgetron Dragon, uh, variants. So this is with gadgets and different stuff like that. Basically, this is gadgets. I think it's terrible. I think it's a terrible deck, and along with Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears, they don't do enough. They do not do enough. They're terrible decks. Also, Six Sams as well. Throw them in there as well. They are just later down the line, maybe, but here, no. I don't think they are good enough decks to even play Fortune Ladies as well. Who's playing Fortune Ladies in Edison? I've not seen that yet. I'd like to. I think that'd be interesting to see someone play, but I don't think it's good enough to play in something like this. So, moving on to Christia. Listen, Christia is just... Now, if we're talking about the Christia builds, there's a Lightsworn build, but I think the pure fairy one is really good. Lately has not been topping, but yeah, the Christia builds are... Christia's the most annoying card in Edison. It takes 4 fairies, and then you bring them out, you have to add a fairy, then you get to dump back a fairy, like, it's... And then when he goes back on the top of the deck. Like, it's nuts. Blackwing variants. So just Blackwing variants. That is also S tier. Blackwings is some of the biggest decks represented in all of Edison. So this basically is the biggest thing you're going to get to combo in Edison. But Blackwings are just... I mean, they lose to DD Crow. Well, not this deck, but the other deck we're going to talk about that also plays a Blackwing engine in Vayu Turbo. This is, I mean, Blackwings are beatable. You play a Consecrated Light. You play other things like a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. They lose. But Icarus Attack along with it is still a good card. But I still think it's deserving of, you know what? I think we're going to put you in top of A, and then Vayu Turbo is going up to S. Yeah, we're definitely putting Vayu Turbo up to S. Like, the top tier. Like, it is literally these 2 decks right now, or the top 2 decks in Edison. I don't think anything even comes moderately close to those. I've played against the Hero Beat variants and the Vayu Turbo decks, and every time I play them, I constantly forget about Vayu can fuse in the grave, or not fuse in the grave, can synchro in the grave, and the hero cards are just so good with so many different things, and when they can make Ab-Zero, it's... I mean, and speaking of Ab-Zero, he is in here. I think he represents just pure hero. No, you know what? The Neos alias probably represents Neos. Probably it represents Neos. So Neospatians. I think Neospatians are right in the middle. I've not really seen Neospatian. Or you know what? These probably represent Geminis. They probably represent Gemini. So I'm going to say it represents Geminis. So, and then we'll move Ab-Zero and the hero, the decks, the hero beat decks up here. Because that probably represents Diva Hero. And then this, I would say that represents Geminis and stuff like that. So, what I would say about, we've already talked about Diva Hero and all that. But what I would say about Geminis is Gemini Spark is a card that people do need to look out for. Neos alias obviously is just represented as a Gemini, but you can do some funky synchro plays with some of the Gemini monsters, and like the cool part is you can play a board wipe with them in Justy Break as well. So quite the fun card, quite the fun deck, I will say. Aliens / reptiles. I have seen some that play reptilians. I don't think it's good enough. I think it's like right at the bottom of C. I think if anything, like, I mean, it's got a funky effect, but I don't think it's good enough to, Oh, you know what? These are just the hero variants, because I have seen the the Neo stuff. So that represents that. Okay, so good. We are doing what's right then. Okay. But yeah, the aliens just aren't. If you're talking just aliens, the only good card aliens really have at that point in Edison is Ammonite, and Ammonite is not good enough to hold up a board. And Golgar. Golgar is just. I mean, Golgar is not good enough either. Um, I just feel like aliens would be good in. I think they're good mixed with something else. If you can get reptilians with it, I think like you would have actually a funky deck. Um, Norellas. Okay, Norellas Turbo. Norellas is just jank if I've ever seen it, but dear God, does it win games? Does it just win games? It will. Phantom of Chaos, replicating Norellas, hand looping your opponent is disgusting. It's actually disgusting, and it is not fun to play. I will tell you that. I have had that happen to me, while playing my first chance with playing with like my volcanics, which that was my first way getting into Edison. I played volcanics, and just got like volcanic burn just without amaryllis. And yeah, it was not fun to say the least. I will say that. Speaking of burn, here's chain burn. Chain burn at this point is not good enough. Um, I think that chain burn, yes, it can be a deck, but you're not at this level in Edison's timeline. It wasn't good until maybe 2014 once they got Card D, and a bunch of other stuff that really supported the deck, and I think Card D really did jump Chain Burn at that point, but yeah, Chain Burn just is not good enough at this point. And the same thing with Panda Burn, or just it's just janky. It is super janky. I think if anything, like it's the top of D. I think if anything, you would see it like maybe low C tier, like bottom of C. Just because like Panda Burn, not Panda, yeah, I guess you could say Panda, Gakagiri, Panda Burn, they can do some stuff. I mean, Gakagiri Panda can literally win you games, but that's a goat deck being played in Edison. I don't think it's good enough for an Edison like tournament, and same with like normal monsters, like the beast. Just I guess that represents just beast strategies in tow. I mean, I think if anything, they're just there. Ojamas are just dog water. Unless you're like playing control their board, lock down their stuff, just different stuff like that. Neospatians, I think Neospatians are like right at sea as well. They have some funny plays that you can do, but they just aren't really strong enough. I mean, the you have to play it with something else. You can't just play it, basic. I would think Silverfang's in here because of for like beasts, or this could just be Beast. I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna say this is Beast Down. Beast Down. Beast Down's interesting. I know I have actually built that deck as an Edison deck with It's basically Cat Synchro, but with a Beast Down strategy as well in the deck, which works with it. So I mean, you got the Beast Down strategy if the Cat Synchro does not work your way. So I think if anything, it's still just C tier there. Morphtronics, you know who you are. If you watch this video, you know who you are. You play this, and it is the most toxic thing. He has created the most toxic. You know what? I'm just gonna call you out, Polar. If you're watching this, which I know you probably are, he makes the most toxic. He's actually had me play the deck. And let me just say, it is some of the most toxic, um, just stuff with Morphtronics I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, imagine Morphtronic Bind with Stumbling and like two other cards that he sets up. It's just unbelievable. Morphtronics, I think just from seeing it played, I think Morphtronic is in B tier. I think it's right under Gemini, but right before Neurella's. Um, I think if anything, Neurella's is janky. I think that yeah, you're really relying on some stuff to really go off, and a DD Crow literally stops the Norellas. But what are you gonna do about the second? That's the old that is did happen to me once. Because I did DD Crow it, and then the guy I played said, "Well, about that," summons the second Phantom of Chaos. Zombie variants. Okay, so these are the zombie variants. So like uh psychic zombies, just different zombie variants, Flamvel zombies, just the different zombie variants. Zombie variants are some of the best in Edison as well. I think they're very deserving of being up in S tier as well. They have fallen off a tad bit. I think if anything, you're looking at these four as your top contenders, just because of the different things that they can do. And Dad is a card that all of this most of these decks can play as well. It's something not fun, especially when, I mean, Christia does stop it, but um, Christia isn't as powerful as, say, the recurrence of zombies are. And when you most people don't see it, and most people don't see it coming, but when Spirit Reaper is legal in a format, and along with playing Goblin Zombie, which is a great searcher, and Pyramid Turtle, which most people don't realize, Pyramid Turtle can summon big zombies from your from your deck because it's defense, not attack. And the Goblin Zombie also can rip a card out of the top of your deck, which can come in handy if it's like you're hitting a brain control and you're hitting a heavy storm or something, or even a Starlight Road when you know you're not afraid of it then. But yeah, the zombie variants are some of the best I've ever seen. Lightsworn, the Lightsworn variants. I've not gotten the privilege of playing Lightsworn variants, specifically JD, but you're playing RNG. You're basically playing Tier Limit in 2011 or 2010, I believe. And I mean, I think he belongs here with Gemini's. Um, JD is a very, very good card, but again, DD Crow is in the format, and you get rid of one Lightsworn. JD is a brick in your hand. So yeah, it is. But I mean, the deck mills very well. You're playing RNG with the deck. I really don't think that it's to the level of some of these decks up top. Now my deck, Jinzo, Returner, OTK. This deck, I love playing this deck. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. How high do I think it belongs? I think it belongs in like A. I think it belongs in A just because of the plays that you have. If you play with like a Machina engine, and or like basically Future Fusion, send all of your stuff for Fortress, and uh or like send all your stuff including your fortresses, and then like send a force or like stuff in your hand that you can literally get into a fortress, and then on top of the fortress getting 3 Jinzos off of the returners. It's just an amazing OTK deck. And if you're lucky, and if you say you have a tuner or something, and you have Plague Spreader, that's an easy 8. It's an easy 8 to make, if you're afraid of losing the returner. And then if you play it with that and Overload Fusion, you also have a Chimera Tech Over Dragon, as well, or a Cyber Twin. Or no, Chimera Fortress Dragon, not the Chimera Takeover Dragon, because you don't want to lose everything. But I love the deck. I love playing it. It's one of my favorites. And Jinzo craps on a bunch of decks that play back row because there are a lot of, you know, there is a lot of traps in Edison. Um, Dimensional Prison. You never would have to worry about Dimensional Prison. Mirror Force. You never have to worry about Mirror Force ever again. Starlight Road. You can Heavy Storm with no fear with like they can't even flip Starlight Road if you have Jinzo. So I think that this deck is still very formidable. It has several tops over the last year, and I think that um, I'll get to that as well. I also topped with this deck as well. I mean, why not? Spaceships. No. The spaceship deck is mid at best, and I don't think it's really worthy of being high in this. Relinquished? I mean, did Relinquish really have a deck? I mean, I don't think. I mean, I guess Relinquish would have and I guess this is just Chaos decks, I guess, with the Thunder King Ryo or just lights. Um I would say Thunder King Ryo dot deck. You know what? I would say that's probably stun. I would say that's probably stun. Um and Thunder King Ryo at stun is in C. Necro Valley. So this is old Necro Valley. So that's terrible. That is good in Goat. It's good in Goat because Gravekeepers are good in Goat, but you don't have Recruiter. That's a big thing. You do not have Recruiter. And it's old Necro Valley, which does not stop effects in the grave. Sadly. And here's a tough take as well. You're going to hate me for some of the stuff I'm going to do here. Jar. Empty jar. With no Cyber Jar. No. For Goat, yes. For Edison, no. Um, Gladiator Beasts, I think, are just at the bottom of C. Gladiator Beasts just they are a mid-tier deck. Um, you don't see too many of it in Edison, to be honest with you. I have not encountered a Gladiator Beast player yet in Edison, because they're just not good. They're just not good. They don't get good until much later. They really don't. Immortal Bushi dot deck. No. The Immortal Bushi is not doing well. Okay. So could I guess it's just water control with Kadara's. No, I think if no, that's probably Umi control. If I would see anything, I don't think it's good enough. And Exodia, same thing. You can't really draw a whole lot with Exodia. Why would you play Exodia in? I mean, it's gimmicky. I mean, it's fun. It'd be funny to roll up in a locals and just say, "Hey, I'm gonna win a game taking this," you know. But no. Um. So the quick draw decks are next. So these are the different variants for quick draw, and I still think they're A tier. It used to be quick draw dandy, quick draw plants, just quick draw. Any kind of variant that they did was a very good deck in Edison. I mean, heck, it won the final Shonen Jump. It won that Shonen Jump championship. So, but I think nowadays you're looking at it now that quick draw just really doesn't do it. I've tried quick draw variant with volcanics to dump my shells, to dump the different the counters and different stuff like that, and it just did not do enough, sadly. And I mean, quick draw is a great card, but I think we're past the point. But quick draw dandy is still a very good deck and deserving of A tier. It is. I have played against it. It is not a fun deck to play against. Guacimiru, I don't think Guacimiru does enough. I mean, it's a cool deck, but I think it's in D tier. I think it's like very, very rogue at best. Flamvel, Flamvel variants. Uriah dot deck. I mean, a lot of these decks are quite interesting. All right, let's go ahead and go into the dragons. The dragon variants are quite interesting. I think it's at the top of. You know what? I really do like the one variant. This is basically the Chaos Dragon deck that basically plays Red Eyes and it plays some. It doesn't play the Chaos Dragon, a lot of the Chaos Dragons, but it plays Wyvern and it plays different stuff like that. But I don't. Other than bringing out Red MD, it's not doing much else. But it can bring out some big boy dragons. Now, there is another dragon variant that we are going to talk about, which is this one, which is just Dragons Turbo. This one is better. This one is really, really good. And I think it's deserving of S tier. I have played against the deck. I have played the deck. And when you can draw 4 or 5 some turns, or like you Future Fusion and send 5, you can draw 5 cards. And that's not even including trade in. You draw to dump Blue Eyes White Dragon, and you get to draw like half your deck in a turn. And you're just quickly getting out the 5-God Dragon. And, I mean, if it pops off with these dragons along with Debris Dragon, whoo, it is an ugly deck to look at. To play. It is an ugly deck to play against. And you can get OTK'd quick. You can get, you can just get walloped in a turn. And it is not fun to play against. I will just say that right now. Fish Synchro. Coelacanth. Just all the fish. I just started playing this deck with a fish mixture, and it is a very good deck. It is a very good deck. Coelacanth can OTK, and if Coelacanth's effect goes off, oh my god, you are off to the freaking races. You can get 2, you can pretty much get him and 2 synchros out with him and just win the game off of just Coelacanth. And Coelacanth, most people don't realize he does have the effect where he can tribute 1 and negate the effect, which is really good as well. So, yeah, I think Fish Synchro, and most people don't realize Oystermeister's effect in the deck, because Oystermeister, when he's sent to the graveyard from the field, you get a token, so then you have the token, you can use the token then for a synchro play as well, or a tribute summon for like a Caius, or any monarch you want, and it is just an amazing setup that you can use. And I think the token also is a fish, so you can also use the oyster token as a negate, attribute it for a negate for Coelacanth as well. So yeah, Coelacanth is just amazing. I love Coelacanth so much. So I think the Soul Exchange shows the Monarch variants. The Monarchs are very good. I mean, Frog Monarchs, obviously, are very good variants. I think Frog Monarch is deserving of B tier at this moment in time, just because of the different. And most of the time, it's going to be Frog Monarch, but I think just really this is you're just using the different decks that incorporate Soul Exchange. Lad is a card. Dark Dust Spirit, different cards like that. Those are cards that you do have to look out for in Edison. They are, that deck. They all have monsters that can be very, very good. But the problem is, if you don't get the Soul Exchange and you're playing pure Monarch, if you're not playing the Frog variant, it drops considerably. Now the Flamvel ones, I think it is depends on what type you're playing. Flamvel zombies are the best, really. Just because you can dump the zombies and dump them with the zombies and stuff like that. And but yeah, I think that there's other than that, like the Flamvel Fire Dog is good, but and the Magician, but you're only playing it really as an engine. And if you're playing Flamvel's pure, like I don't think it's good enough. I just think that, but it rekindling, it makes the deck go. It really does. If you can get rekindling, but if they're not in the graveyard, you rekindling's a dead card. Fire Dog's just a 1900. And Magician is a tuner, which you're going to use Magician as a tuner, but that's pretty much it. Okay, Cat Synchro. The Cat variants. Different Cat Synchro decks. The Cat is definitely going in B tier. Definitely going B. Right in that tier. I strongly feel like Cat Synchro is the old Cat. So you're allowed to attack with them. If you can turn one, bring out an Arabellum, rip a card out of your opponent's hand, and then Synchro after, that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. And I mean, just look at him. Look at how cute that kitty is. Frog variants. I mean, is there any other option other than put him in S? Like it's frog variants. Frog variants are some of the most consistent engines in Yu-Gi-Oh! Edison format, basically, because frogs, Subzitoad literally can dump all your frogs, and then you literally have you thin out your deck quicker, and two, you have protect, like a lot of the frogs have very interesting effects. I mean, Subzitoad is a great card. Swap Frog is so good. And the Duplock, like the Duplock can literally win you games from time to time. So the Duplock is just, I mean, and then Flip Flop Frog and Unifrog. Most people don't realize Unifrog's effect to destroy a spell and trap when it attacks directly, because it can. X-Sabers are next. X-Sabers. So this is going to be a controversial take. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're good. I've tried them out a little bit, and Hyunlei and Gothams are good, but you can just play just Arabellum and you're fine. You can still get both of them and it's okay. Because Hyunlei is the only one that requires an X-Saber. But other than that, a lot of the other cards are very janky. If they had Dark Soul, it'd be great. But you don't have Dark Soul. Infernity Fiend, good stuff. So I would call this Infernity, different Fiend builds. I mean, at this time in Edison, you only had Necromancer, I believe Necromancer, Avenger, and Necro Avenger and Necromancer. So Necromancer, Archfiend, and Avenger. Those are the three cards that were available at that time. Um, if it was later, I'd say it's great, but with just those three cards in it and Fiend good stuff, I've tried playing it. It is not great. It is not great. Uriah. So Uriah, you can play Uriah with Crystal Beasts and stuff like that, but I think it's gimmicky at best. I think it's gimmicky at best. So we're gonna put you right next to yeah, we're gonna put you right next to Fortune Lady. See, that's where you belong. Okay, last three. Machina decks. Machina variants. Well, I think Machina variants are very deserving of a B tier, top of B tier, just because um the Fortress is quite a card. You have a Stratos in whatchamacallit in the gear frame. And the cool part is Fortress can come back from the graveyard too. Most people don't really realize that as well. And they Fortress is a card that um its two effects can just devastate your opponent. Um, but it just doesn't do enough oomph. There are some that used it in roids. There's some that I used it in a engine with um, Jinzo, but it's not a pure deck. You're really using it as an engine in other decks, but still, Machina decks, they as an engine are good. All right, so last two decks. We have Dark Gaia, which has been coming up lately, with the Gaia plate and different stuff like that. I have not played this deck at all. I have not seen people play it. I think for now it's got some potential in like a C tier, but I don't think it goes any higher. And then last but not least, the plant variants. The plant variants, I think that they are going very high in this. I think they're deserving of A tier. Obviously, not just because of Dandy Warrior and quick draw plants and different stuff like that, but Gigaplant, Titanial, um, just you and Mark of the Rose. Most people don't realize is a card. Amaryllis, just a lot of good plant strategies in Edison that you can play, and I think it is very deserving of high A tier. I would literally say that it's probably the best A tier with Christia on dot decks, but I really think the plants are just a little better because you can mark the rose a Christia, take the Christia and just use it against your opponent, which is good. But yeah, this is the list. This is the tier list. Um, Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I really greatly appreciate that. And if you want me to do more of these, please let me know. I'm very excited to do these more. And I'm going to see how they do. I want to see how you guys enjoy them. And even if they're just one-off videos, I'm completely fine with just doing these and getting conversation in the community as well. Um, Even though these decks are lower tiered, does not mean you cannot go to a locals or go to an Edison event and not top with any of these. Other than Ancient Gear, but and some of these decks that were good in like Goat, um but yeah, I think it's possible that anything's possible in Edison because anything can top an Edison. Anything can top an Edison. That's why Edison's so fun. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, stay awesome, Dark Knights.